Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Confessions from the Darkside. Today will be Confessions by Captain Howdy. Darcy, I know you wanted to add a disclaimer in there, so if you would.
Okay, so I'm not prepared, thanks. So disclaimer from the creepy laughing man. You may hear swearing, yes. You may hear crude, rude, whatever. If you don't like things of an adult nature and the way I describe things, I would suggest you go listen to something else that's for your liking. If you like what we bring, because I know I do, and you do, then
Absolutely.
continue and let's do this. Let's get on. Let's learn about The Exorcist. If you didn't know about said Exorcist, classic movie of 1973.
1973, yep. And guys, just to touch a little bit more on what we are not the Disney Channel by any means necessary. We are
No,
not. We are HBO Max after midnight.
I think
We
we'd probably be a rated R channel, not just a HBO Max channel.
I think would probably be rated M for mature. That's
M for
definitely what we're
mature.
rated. Yes, that's definitely what we're rated. I don't think we've hit the threshold of like NC-17 or anything like that to where basically pornography in here. We definitely have not hit that yet. But yeah, I mean,
But again, if you can't handle it, stay out of my kitchen.
yes, leave the cooking to Darcy and I because in this realm, yeah, first.
It's like wearing one like a human shield. I can't. All killers will be attracted to that first.
Yep.
It's like throw your
But
weapon in front of you.
as Darcy did say, today we have The Exorcist, a movie.
Why do we have The Exorcist though? Explain
Why?
why.
Oh, well, let's see. Where do I even begin? Do I want to begin irritating fact, or do I want to begin with the fact that it is a requel and it has come out to yesterday? No, Friday.
Friday. It's
Friday
Sunday.
it came out. Oh, perfect day. Why don't we do a possession on the holy day? I love it.
I know, I just
um,
had to get the plague. That's what was wrong.
so guys, originally we did plan this episode actually at a later date. We were gonna do it the 12th
Mm-hmm.
because this movie was originally supposed to be released on Friday the 13th. But under some horrible, stupid, blonde, ignoramus circumstances.
So you can say blonde agreeabus, but I say anything about blonde, you give me shit. Double standard.
The movie has been pushed forward because of,
Mm-hmm.
oh my God, Swifty. Nobody cares. Nobody really does.
No one gives a fuck. Taylor Swift.
Yeah,
No one does.
no. So,
Why you couldn't
un-
give the weirdos their Friday the 13th is beyond me, you bitch. I'm still sad
not
about it.
only, oh, I'm still upset about it. Not only that, it's Friday the 13th in October. Come on now.
Yes, and it's the 50th anniversary this year. It's a
It
bit more
is.
important than that shite that gets
It
regurgitated
is.
out
And
every few
I
years
honestly
because
do
she wants her
believe
fucking
that
money.
it was pointless to have
Hmm.
this get pushed forward.
Yep.
All just because of Taylor Swift. I understand why. Yeah, I understand why they did what they did because one to overshadow the other or vice versa, which
It
for
wouldn't
the
be the
amount
same
of
audience.
for the amount of weirdos that are out there like you and I, pretty sure we probably would have succeeded overshadowing Taylor Swift by a long
Mm-hmm.
shot. So again, the movie was supposed to come out Friday the 13th. We were supposed to do this stream on the 12th and release it. I
We're
think,
going to do it on the 13th. Is it not on the
yeah,
13th? I think it was. But it was because we wanted to not wait because there was a horror film, a significant horror film coming out in October when we started our podcast. It'd be stupid if we waited too long, in my opinion, because you want to strike with iron as hot when you've got so much writing on this film coming out.
it's just mind-boggling that they pushed a horror movie off of a day that's supposed to be basically
A day
surrounded
for
by
us
nothing. Yeah, a day for us horror movie lovers, horror movie junkies, horror movie, whatever you want to call us. If you want
weirdo.
to call us weird, that's fine. But The
We
Friday
like
the
it.
13th is our day. It's what we look forward to.
I got married on Friday the 13th, so if someone tried to steal my motherfucking day, I'd be stabbing a bitch. There's
I went
no
down and got my marriage license on Friday the 13th. I mean, so today, guys, if anybody doesn't know, Friday we were supposed to record on the 6th when the new one, Darcy, has been struggling and fighting COVID again. And she was feeling pretty ill on Friday to where we just sat down, we brainstormed, we just talked, we had a good time. We were going to record, it was just going to be me, but when it comes to horror movies and stuff of that nature, I personally myself would love to have my partner involved instead of me talking the whole time. Now, Supernatural, I'm okay with letting Darcy talk because I have seen the seasons through and through, but I will big classic horror movies such as The Exorcist. Now, if it was something that I enjoyed and she didn't enjoy, or vice versa, that's a different story. But this is something that we both can agree on that we grew up watching. It is a classic. We both agree that the sequels were dog shit, but the original, it was a classic. It had a bunch of controversy surrounding it. I think it got banned in numerous countries.
UK, definitely.
hmm
But they cut it though,
So
so they could actually release it.
yeah, I mean they ruined most of the movie by doing that. They cut it so it could be released, but the original was banned in a lot of countries for the nature of the movie, the circumstances surrounding the movie, and and the stuff that the controversy that surrounded the movies. Got it got a lot of backlash, I will say.
It was going to happen. It was bringing in the Catholic fucking Church.
Yeah,
It's as
yeah. I
bad as
mean,
bringing in Scientology.
and there's so many movies ever since The Exorcist was released that now they have basically been for okay, I guess would be the word I'm looking for, with bringing in the Catholic Church. I mean, and I thought that movie was just brilliant, and it gave me a quite honestly, that movie did give me slight Exorcist vibes. But it also was in turn its own movie as well, which was again I thought was great. I think you and I talked about it a little bit. I think you said you liked it, but I'm
It's like one day I'll like it, then maybe the other day I don't. It just depends on what mood I'm in, I suppose. I don't know about you, but certain films I'll still say yeah, 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 and then it's just like believe it. I'm just a bit. I'm strange when I'm watching.
so today, guys, as you heard, yes, title Confessions by Captain Howdy. First, we're going to be starting with the truth behind the original franchise. We're just going to go through, we'll, discuss back and forth here and there and stuff like that. I'm going to start us off, and again, Darcy with the absolute amazing research that she does, looking at all this stuff up, typing all this stuff up as well. So definitely a big shout out to her for doing this. She's absolutely amazing.
You keep
So
saying that, my head's not gonna get through the fucking door, mate.
hey, you know what? Whatever. So the originality of The Exorcist is based around the events that happened to a young boy, Roland Doe, and he was subjected to a series of exorcism when he was 14 years old. I'm sorry, being 14 years old to be subjected to a series of exorcism, that would be rough.
Especially when it's 14-year-old boy, and 14-year-old boy has testosterone, and God knows how much hormones going through his fucking body, and his body's changing to be basically, well, have exorcisms, and God knows what shit happened to you.
Yes,
That's
absolutely.
going to be PTSD, fucking not even textbook. I'm surprised they've not had severe mental health problems.
Yes. Yeah, not only that, getting, you said testosterone and everything like that at 14 years old. Teenagers are naturally angry.
Mental and
Yeah,
mental.
mental. But naturally angry, so just all that extra boost of testosterone going through the system, and now you have somebody who's basically doing tests on you
And abuse,
over and over.
which again is a form
Uh,
of an abuse as well.
yes. But gotta love it. Roland's name was kept a secret from the media for over 70 years. The encounter happened in Cottage City, Maryland, and in St. Louis, Missouri in 49. His real name is Roland Edwin Hunkler, and he passed away before his 86th birthday after suffering a stroke at his home. His name was shortly revealed when an investigator looking into the history and the origins of the Exorcist and where the story came from, if it was in fact based on real life events, which it was the name, and on real life events, which it was the name was never. There was always speculation, though, which gave the movie its extra mystery. That's just, I guess, in a way, you wouldn't want that,
See the
because
way the internet is now, the way everything is now, you wouldn't get away with that. People would find out who it is because people are
yeah,
the
not
most.
today.
But when you think in 1949, this happens in a wee tiny town, it seems, and people must know about it in the town. But be one of those things you don't want to talk about it, especially if they are crazy religious themselves. They'll probably not want to like have any sort of connection to this boy in case they are, as they say, possessed. Do you get what I mean? They don't want to have interactions with them because back in the day where you sneeze and they said bless you, that was like in case you get a demon in you. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
That kind of behaviour. So the name see in this country, especially someone who's a minor, and if it's a crime or anything like that, or something like this happens, well, not exorcism, but you know, a kind of sort of abusive thing, they wouldn't release the name because it's a minor. So you know what I mean? So it's always like they usually keep the names until either the court case is over or they're older or they're dead. I don't know if they might do that, but I just thought that was actually nice that they didn't release his name and actually let the person have a normal life.
Yep. And speaking of normal life, Roland went on to become an engineer for NASA. His job was creating new technologies for space shuttles for heat-resistant panels, which helped with astronauts being able to allegedly walk on the moon. In parentheses, don't ask.
Exactly, just don't ask. I'm not going into conspiracy theories about walking on the moon today. No. This is about
It was all set
exorcisms,
up.
not the moon.
William Peter Blatty, who wrote the original novel based on Roland's experience, he heard about the incident while studying at Georgetown University in Washington, D.C. The story Blatty created, which became the box office smash and horror classic, was based here. It was a professor named Father Eugene Gallagher that told Blatty the story of Roland's possession while he attends the country's oldest Catholic university. Roland's true identity was known by Jesuit priests. They were aware and knew the story as they were close to the original priest who performed the exorcism on the boy. The identity of Roland was kept a secret as he himself was always frightened people would find out about his past and the exorcism, something he didn't want made public. It's private. It's also in the past, and who the fuck would want to relive that? True. That's just beyond true. No one would. It was no one's business but Roland, so I am glad that his name remained unpassed on, giving him the chance to live a normal life. Absolutely. He retired in 2001 after NASA for 40 years. Yeah, I mean, definitely want to live a normal life. I mean, there's nothing that would be able to keep you from having a normal life. If your name was released, you'd have reporters, you'd have everybody under the sun, you would have satanic cultists just wanting to come talk to you and be a part of your life, and it would be hard.
You would also get like college students and stuff who are doing things like this,
Mm-hmm.
and university wanting to have you come to the class, talk about it, relive it, go on about it, show you pictures, trigger you, and most likely give you a PTSD event every time. And people approaching you in the fucking street. It's endless. And again, it would be exacerbated now because of the internet. As much as the internet is a good thing, it has a lot of bad things and a lot of negative attributes to it that are dark like that, and that's why it is madness. And I'm glad that the poor man had to go through that, went on to live a good life, and went to work for fucking NASA. So he didn't let that traumatic experience dictate his full life. He changed his life. He changed his forever after. And he went on to live a happy, normal life. He had a stroke, poor guy, but he still lived to his 80s.
Yeah. Yeah, and just, I mean, basically at that point in time, you went 14 years old, basically being probed and prodded by the Catholic Church and Exorcist.
Yes.
Now, if your name was leaked, it'd basically be, like you said, reliving it all over again, probed and prodded by absolutely everybody just to get your story. And yeah, who would definitely want to relive that shit?
Not every couple of years. It wouldn't be every couple of years. It'd be literally like one person knows everybody would know.
Yep. So it started with him hearing noises and bumps inside the walls. Now in Exorcist 3, they spoke about this, and again, throughout the franchise, the paranormal events range from random noises, things moving, and just oddities around, etc. So let's see what we can match up from the novel and the original movie, actual events that happened in 1949. All right. You want to take the list?
So Roland had a chair thrown. He had one he threw, apparently, but there was another. Well, he didn't throw the chair he was on, threw him off, and another chair moved across the room. Again, they did this in Exorcist where they moved things. So they did, like, moved chairs. But she did get thrown out of a chair? I'm trying to think. She
Do
did
believe
Regan
so.
get thrown out of a chair? She did. The bed shook whenever he was in it, and again they did that in the movie. That was a big scene with the bed. The floors of the home had visible damage from things sliding across the floor. Well, this was 1949, people, so they probably would have had like the bare bones floor, probably. So think of whatever furniture. It wouldn't be like shitey IKEA furniture. Not saying IKEA furniture shite, but you know what I mean. But they wouldn't have repurposed shit. It would be proper good furniture that'd be dragging across floors and stuff. So it would get a lot of scuff marks, and it would get a lot of, if you know what I mean, wear and tear, because things are getting dragged rather than lifted. So again, you would see the wear and tear on a floor, and they showed that in the movie. Picture of Jesus Christ on the wall. I'd make it shake. I wouldn't even have it on my wall, but anyway, that apparently would shake when he was present or close by. And again, they've done that as well. They made things shake when Reagan was about, and it was the cross. Then we've got Ronald was shown how to use the Ouija board by his aunt. His aunt was a spiritualist, so apparently she was like all clued up on Ouija board, because apparently you've got to be clued up to use one. Okay, whatever. So all happened, I guess, when his aunt passed away. His mother thought it was a gateway to the possession of her, because he used the Ouija board with her, and her religion, her beliefs, blah blah blah. They thought him using the Ouija board with his aunt caused him to be possessed, put it that way. And again, she uses the Ouija board because she's talking to Captain Howdy, and that's a big scene at the start of the just after he's been to Africa in the first movie, isn't it? And it's just like she's playing with the Ouija board in the house.
Yes.
Is it in
Remember,
the
guys, anytime that you play with a Ouija board, say goodbye. Or better
exactly?
yet, just don't play with one and don't be stupid.
Or don't try and act hard when you're using, especially to impress a girl. No one gives a fuck.
Yeah, because I mean, if the Ouija boards actually do induce possession, ain't nobody gonna be impressed when you just start going on a random murder spree because you have a demon inside of you. You didn't follow the rules of a Ouija board,
Exactly. So
dumbasses.
right now, yes, I feel like such a dumbass right now because I said right now. The Jesuit priest, right, was named William Bodern or Bodern. Ugh. Performed more than 20 exorcisms on Roland over a 3-month period. Again, Reagan got, or was it Regan or Reagan? I always say Reagan because it sounds better. Is it Regan? I bet it's Regan and I'm calling her Reagan.
I think it's Reagan, to be honest with you.
I think it's Regan. But hey, however. So he was getting basically more than 20 exorcisms basically done over a 3-month period. And then he was transferred to somewhere in St. Is it Louis or Louis?
St. Louis. St. Louis.
Right. St. Louis. So the fuck? Because you'd say Louis. That looks like Louis for me, but hey. For further demonic possession treatment, because who knew that was such a fucking thing? There's an actual demonic possession treatment centre. Where the fuck did they come up with this shit? But anyway, so because who knew that's even a thing? Yes, exactly. Also, the Catholic Church never admits to exorcism. This is what I found out in school when I actually, because I went to Catholic school. So they have obviously about different priests who are what trained in this field, as you find out in other movies and stuff. But there is, when I asked a lot of questions about it, they didn't want to answer them. Can you imagine me as a teenager asking questions about the exorcisms and what do you actually do? You know what I mean? So I asked a lot of questions, but no, they don't like to talk about it. They try and put you off, and they never want to admit them, even though there's proof of them. I wanted to clear that up, that the Catholic Church don't like admitted it, like, ever. They only admit it if usually something has happened, like something criminal, like a death, and someone's getting their finger waved at them somewhere from doing something silly. There is documents, case files within Vatican to this day about this, and yet they still try and get out of it by using someone else. And also using mental health. Could it be an underlying condition? Could it be a fluke? Could it be someone trolling? Nowadays, yes. But any cases the Vatican doesn't want you to know about, then you don't. You won't have a clue. Because no one knows about them. That's the thing. It's only who is in a need-to-know basis. So Roland himself didn't think he was a victim of demonic possession. Now, this is the wee boy, or the boy himself. And as an adult, apparently, he was possessed. So the Jesuit priest kept a journal of the exorcism and his interactions with Roland during the 3 months he worked with him. One of the times Roland had scratches on him, and the word Lewis on his ribs, and the word Saturday also scratched into his hip for the treatment. Along the phase of 3.5 weeks to indicate how long they wanted or wished to stay for the treatment here. Like, the entity was dictating how long they had to eradicate it from Roland if they could do it. The priests thought the scratchings were a positive note that they wanted to go to St. Louis for the treatment. After a month, the demon was gone, apparently, before he passed, a priest was there who knew to come, apparently, which I find highly unlikely, but if they believe I'm not at liberty to take their beliefs away, that he gave him was it the last rites, and then was taken to heaven, and apparently he's with God now. It was a devil, not a demon, inside of Roland, which again, demons love saying they are the devil when they aren't. So that's the backstory.
Yep, I mean, demons themselves are meticulous for lying to. Yeah, I mean, they keep themselves hidden, so they're going to say they're the devil because obviously there's. I don't know much about exorcisms, but I'm pretty sure there's probably a couple different incantations for exorcisms that would be for demons and devils differently. So calling yourself the devil, you could easily sit there and stay safe as a demon inside of a host just because they're using the wrong form of literature against them.
Exactly, and it's kind of smart.
Yeah.
But they're not always smart, though. They always end up putting their foot in it when they're asked questions and they get tripped up in a lie. And
like
sometimes
with
the victims themselves do it as well when they're not possessed and they get tripped up in a lie.
Yeah, and I mean, if anybody here has seen any form of Exorcist movie, not just The Exorcist, but like any form of movie that involves exorcism or demonic possession, and I'm pretty sure I've read this quite a few times, the only way to control of a demon is by knowing the demon's name. So if the demon's going to call themselves Lucifer, Beelzebub, whatever, to ensure that nobody's going to have power over the actual demon themselves. But we have come time and time again that some form of, I guess, medium that is always going to find a way to either trick the demon or make work of the name of the demon. The Conjuring has proved it. Lorraine Warren was, a medium. And if anybody has seen The Conjuring 2, all the events that happened over in England, she was the one who found out the demon's name. And she had dominion over the demon, I guess. I'm pretty sure that was the one infamous line from there is, she had the name, so she had now dominion over the demon. And that goes for really any exorcism type movie. You have to know the demon's name to be able to release the demon from its host. The Exorcist. I'm going to go into a little bit about the movie itself. Unfortunately, it's not the day that it was supposed to come out, the original date, but the original date would have marked 50 years of the release of the original movie called The Exorcist. And then it came with so much mass hysteria of this movie and its contents and how the general public would look at the release of cinemas. Why the crazy? Why all the drama? Let's get into it. I'm excited because I know most of I'm pretty sure I pretty much read all the stuff that surrounded the movies. The beginnings for the original movie, The Exorcist, Was released in 1973. It had Linda Blair, who played as Reagan, Ellen Bernstein and Chris McNeil, who played Reagan's mother, Jason Miller as Damien Karras, the young priest, and Max von Sydow, Lancaster Marin, which is the old priest.
Because you always need an old priest and a young priest.
Always. Sounds like a very, very bad beginning to a horrible priest joke. We're not going to get into that, though.
No, but put your favourite priest jokes in the comments below to see if we've heard them.
Yes, yes.
We've
But
asked for funny, so give us funny.
yes, yes. We want the hilarious. We want the goofy.
I'm literally dark and gritty all the time.
Yeah, I mean, same here. I mean, there's no other better way. So the first movie is where everything started, where the hysteria started, and the memorable time and innocent time people lost their shit over this movie. People fainting, passing out, and being scared shitless. I've even read too that people puking because of this movie.
I know, it's so dramatic, isn't it? Drama llama?
Yes. Don't understand why there was so much crazy around this movie. It was brilliant. The original movie that was released in cinemas was cut later for release, and it wasn't until the 2000s that they did an anniversary edition, which they added the scenes that people were losing it over, like crawling down the stairs in a crab-like position and having blood dripping from her mouth. Again, this is... Yeah, I don't understand what was causing the hysteria over stuff like that. Now, I could understand the 360 head turn. That I could understand.
Or the violent masturbation
Yeah, that's
incident. Exactly. That's probably more of a, we should maybe cut that out, since she's supposed to be a child and saying, let Jesus, do you know what I mean? And saying that your mother sucks cocks in hell and stuff.
Masturbating vigorously.
Oh, fuck me, yeah, she is. Mental. And it's the facial expression she's pulling that it's not. And
yeah, I know.
Pleasure.
PTSD, growing up and watching that movie, and then, my first time, I'm sitting here in the back of my head somewhere going, please don't make those facial expressions. Please don't make those facial expressions. Please don't make those facial expressions.
It's going to stick with you for life, man. That is a face. I
Oh,
can
it
see
is.
it right now. I can see her right now pulling that fucking face.
I know.
Those eyes and the cuts in the face as well.
Yes.
It sticks with you.
Yeah, it was more of a comedic scene than a horror movie. I can agree with that reference. Today, as you guys are, Darcy and I make jokes about this, we don't understand about the hysteria of this movie. And it wasn't as scary as it was made out to be, but at the same time, it still was a great movie and paved the way in horror everyone trying to make for the new Exorcist. The first movie takes place in the 70s. Reagan is a young girl at this time, and she starts with a Ouija board, and it seems she's been speaking to someone called Captain Howdy. Again, Ouija boards, etc. People think are, demonic and must send the sales of this toy because it's classed as a child's toy to a spirit board, as it's called in some countries, and things get dark fast. Her mother is beside herself as strange things, not just regular things, they got to be strange, keep happening and random fatal incidents around, and it's always Captain Howdy. Why do demons and entities have to have cute names for their kids? No wonder if they are alone, and then they decide to take matters into their own hands, where the parents here, again in the 1970s, like in the 1980s, socially acceptable behaviors which aren't socially acceptable now, which, again, vigorous masturbating of a kid who was
telling a poor
possessed
that his mum was sucking penises in hell. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
There's a lot of questionable things.
I'm starting to see a pattern between you and I when it comes to podcast episodes. There's always some form of reference of a penis.
I'm sorry, and it was me who brought it up this time, not you this time.
Well, I mean, I didn't bring it up the first time either. We're talking about David Bowie's penis and
yes, you can
elaborate.
Now. I think you're like really impressed by it.
I mean, it's there for the whole world to see.
I'm sorry, what can I say? Envious.
See, you bring up penises, and then like me on the, I think it was the second episode that we did, I brought up nipples. Ding, ding, turkey's done.
We both did, because we both got into a conversation about 90s nipples. Yeah.
Yes, well, but again, it's 80s, 90s. It was socially acceptable to basically have dick prints everywhere and hard nipples showing everywhere. Nowadays, if you were to do that, you're gonna say that that dude's a fuckboy, he's just trying to show off what he's got, or that girl's a whore, she's basically flaunting her stuff. So, I mean, you just see where the world has come from socially acceptable to socially demeaning, and it's just wrong on so many levels on how we're on the sides that we're gonna play. It's stupid in my opinion, but we won't get further into that conversation because this episode is about the Exorcist, and if I were to get into that conversation, so the demon takes a hold of Regan, and this is when the priest come and will try and exorcise the demon from her. This is the most iconic and memorable scenes for the genre, and the directors still have to prove a move from 1973 that will still beat a movie from now. Yes, we have special effects, but the stories are recycled bullshit, which is so true, that no one wants to see anymore, as it is the same old. There is no shock, no originality, or any talent in the writing and adaptations that are being released even today, which, again, is truer than anything, really. I mean, the original is by far the best. Remastered, released, anything uncut, yes, I would watch it over anything new. Absolutely. And I know you would because you're the person who did the research and wrote this. So yes, I know you would as well.
And I wrote it like I was talking. I
Yes,
wrote it like it was talking and narrating, but it was being narrated by you. So
yes,
it's written by a Scottish person and narrated by an American.
yes. Haha.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I definitely can agree too. No one wants to shock us with horror movies anymore. It is fun. These people are supposed to be shocked, and that goes along. That just doesn't. It also goes with. It just doesn't go with horror. It goes with comedies as well. Because I mean, if you think about it, you can't say half the things you want to in comedy movies anymore without offending someone. So
Yeah.
it's it's
But again, you
hard.
can't swing a cat without fucking offending someone these days. I'm probably offending someone right fucking now. I'm not
Yeah,
even aware of
and
it.
the most recent comedy movie that I do believe still had any oh, what's the word?
Funny comedy.
Yeah, actual decent comedy. I think it's a Netflix movie. It's called Jexy.
Never heard of it. Although I don't have Netflix, so I'm
Yeah,
not giving Netflix my money. They can
no, I wouldn't,
go
but
fuck.
if you ever do get a chance to look it up and download it to watch a comedy, I would. It's funny. I laugh every time I watch it. I've seen it like 3 times.
I'm stone faced though when it comes to certain comedies. I'm just weird for the last funny film I watched was Joyride, and that was fucking hilarious. Inappropriate as fuck. Exorcist 2 The
Are
Heretic?
we?
Yes. No, because that's got a lot of like random information that you don't hear about from the first film, and in the third film that only Caris would know. So right, let's
All
go.
right. I guess
Linda
I can do.
the Exorcist 2, The Heretic. I like the front cover of this because I thought she looked evil as fuck, but they kind of tried to make it demonic looking. Linda Blair, again. Richard Burton, who plays Father Philip Lamont. Kitty Wynn, she was in the first film, but she wasn't really that important a character. Well, to me, she was in it for like 2 seconds, so I didn't label her. Sharon Spencer. Louise Fletcher plays Dr. Jean Tuskin. And Max von Syden, Father Lancaster Merrin. James Earl Jones is Kokumo. Still labelled as the most disastrous and worst sequels of a movie franchise. Let's see why, because you can't mess with the perfection of the original and making it a franchise, well, taking a huge risk to be honest back then, which is true, especially in the horror franchise. Funnier than scary, well, I found the first one had comedy too, when most of it, most found it vulgar and scary. Again, I'm different on how I look at movies. Not sure if it's just me or it could be something in autism. How I perceive stuff, I don't know. Who knows? This sequel, fans and critics thought it moved away from the original story. Well, plot holes, people unconvincing, some critics have said. Lol, you ain't wrong there. The director of the sequel wasn't even a fan of the original. What a shocker. He wouldn't have done it justice as a sequel to a worldwide phenomenal smash. It was all about conflicts of good and evil, yet wasn't executed in a way that it would become a fluid continuation of the original movie, which you would think you would want to achieve since Regan is older and and it's about the same person. But no, this was made a laughing stock at the WB apparently, kind of thing. WB have got a lot of things that are make them a laughing stock now. They're literally just a big red flag of laughing. So you're all laughing at you, WB, never with you. So did you know that William Friedkin, I can't ever say folks' names, and the writer of the original source material from the book The Exorcist wasn't interested in making a sequel yet? They made one anyway without them. Sounds like it was all about money, don't you? And not about the fans, the original movie, the book. It was all about money, money, money. And well, again, WB never learns. Can you see a pattern, people? Now do you? So, not only is it the worst sequel to follow its original movie masterpiece, it is the one of the worst movies ever to be created and filmed of all time. What someone got to do to set the bar high, and also set it low so we know where to aim for the first movie, set its standards through the roof, while the sequel made the low bar scale visible on what not to do. What an accomplishment. People, low standard bar. Lol. What did the original director say about The Exorcist 2? I did see a great deal of Exorcist. I did see a great deal of Exorcist. I sat through maybe 40 minutes of it. It was the worst piece of shit I've ever seen. It's a fucking disgrace. That's the worst 40 minutes of film I have ever seen, and that's saying a lot. Yes, it's saying a lot. This is only 1970. What was it? That came out in 1977. That one still came out in 1973. So even the original director said it's a piece of shit, and what the fuck have you done? So, and yet they made a third one. Because the second one didn't break enough records for being a shite movie and like the worst movie ever. Yeah, this movie was seen as the true sequel. I was like, we'll wait for the new one and see what the fuss is all about, shall we?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely was a money grab. They made a movie that was controversial, and they were like, it's going to do well, and they were like, boom, two.
Exactly. So Reagan's older now. She's a teenager, isn't she? In the second one.
Yes.
And it follows her basically. She still has to get testing done and things like that. Just to check, obviously, because it was a traumatic fucking experience. It was. Do you know what I mean? So she obviously will need psychiatric evaluation every now and then, and you never know if she's, you know, going to break or she could be pretending or whatever. So obviously, her family having money because they lived in a big, massive house. It's like, so I can imagine that there was no money that they wouldn't spend. I mean, since the mother's never there. Anyway.
Yeah.
The priest Lamont tries to save a young girl in South America, and due to the foreseen circumstances of the exorcism, you may not survive it. Which, again, you don't always survive them, especially there in South America. So, the mysterious death of Father Lancaster Merrin is being investigated by the church almost 4 years later, and the priest is having struggles with his faith and is assigned this case about the late priest's untimely death after being part of an exorcism with Regan McNeil. So the demon that possessed Regan actually likes to inhabit bodies that have a psychic ability, and apparently Regan has this. So that is why Pazuzu targeted her the way her possession is described. It is as if they exorcised the demon, but it may have left a mark, a trace of itself in her, and now has been well adapted into her. So it's like left away to return, meaning she would never be free of the entity, and that's what happens. The priest and Regan return to where it all began in the old house where he is investigating the death of the priest who helped in the exorcism, and Pazuzu is aware that the priest is having doubts about his faith. and he still wants to be a priest and plays it on offering him power, etc. Things he thinks that will turn him to the dark side. But most just walk away from that life and just go on to live a normal life away from the church. This movie had a weird way of, well, including past people from Reagan's life from before and during the incident, and then again later. This seems to be the only continuation from the original story. I found the story to be choppy as fuck, to be honest, but hey, again, it was after the tests and experiments where they were able to move on and the franchise well became a laughingstock. I do agree. Now it's excellent. Unless you have something to add, it was find out that it's shit, and then finding out it's the worst movie, and it's basically WB's biggest mistake. Well,
Yeah,
back then it
ab-
is.
absolutely. I mean, Exorcist 2, I can honestly say full-heartedly that the movie itself was garbage. It did not give any kind of justice to the original or future remakes.
There was
Um,
nothing that kind of. The only thing that connected them was the fact that they talked about the priest that died, investigating his death, and making her relive the fact that she fucking killed him anyway, and Linda Blair being in it. That's the only kind of continuation of that story, and they didn't even go by the story. They just decided to go off in their own wee. Oh, it's awful. Just reliving it, and I haven't watched it in ages. I don't need to rewatch it. The feeling is already leaving something sickly in my mouth.
well, what is the point of talking about it? Because now I'm reliving it and I'm not even watching.
I don't want to relive this shit.
No, absolutely not. Why would you want to relive that?
So you're on Exorcist 3.
I am on Exorcist 3. Yay! So, Exorcist 3, we have George C. Scott as Kinderman, Brad Dourif, the Gemini. I'm assuming that's supposed to be killer.
Yes, I'm sorry, typo. I was angry typing.
No, it's fine. Nicole Williamson, Father Morning, Ed Flanders, makes me think of the Simpsons. Father Dyer, Jason Miller as Patient X, Scott Wilson as Dr. Temple, Nancy Fish as Nurse Allerton. Uh, Not a big name, big money cast, but again, it's a second sequel of a trilogy of a franchise that they are riding on success of the original 1973 movie. This was released in 1990. And again, horrible movies are made in the 90s. And then I have some great ones, and
Yes, you
um
do have some great ones sometimes.
yeah,
Just suck it
sometimes.
up, man. Just get through it. I had to get through the last one.
This is more of a true crime movie and less of an Exorcist movie based around the Gemini killer. The tie-in with this
That's
movie
not a
is a
bad thing.
patient, huh?
Not a bad thing. I said it's not a bad thing
No,
to have a true crime movie, but it's just because this is supposed to be an exorcism movie.
yeah, they did what we talked about in I think one of the pre-episodes where they basically, I think it was when we talked about Halloween, where they added a movie that shouldn't have been part of the series but still made it as part of the
Yep.
series somehow. But this one did have a tie-in with the movie from the patient from
Mm-hmm.
the psychiatric ward who looks like Father Karras, and this patient has the answers apparently that will help the police officer find the killer. It was a leap, a giant one, to think that this would have any amount of success of the original movie, and in a sequel fashion, it tanked. Go figure.
Mm-hmm.
The original title of this movie was Legion, which is what the book it is based on was titled. But again, would The Exorcist 3 Legion, would it be better just Legion of Legion, an Exorcist Tale, or Story, or even Journey? Who knows? The other sequels and TV shows are this because if you've seen them, yeah, you definitely know how we feel about that crap.
Exactly.
So,
There is Exorcist the Beginning, which was out in 2004, and that has Stellan Skarsgård as a young Father Merrin, should I say? Youngish. Isabella Scorocco, Sarah James Darcy. Give me back my name. Sorry.
hey.
Father Francis, Remy Sweeney, Joseph, Alan Ford, Jeffries, David Bradley, Father Jeanette. Because there are many more, but these are the top ones, and a few I recognise. Not sure if they are still acting, as some don't even have pictures. Lol, that was me. This prequel, the first of its kind in the Exorcist universe, by the way, is taking you back. And this is where it does tie in with the second movie, I believe. where it explains about the issues with Africa and the link between Pazuzu and Reagan and the church and how they were dealing with this entity, this demon, before Reagan was even born. All about Father Merrin's original encounter with the demon and the exorcism, etc. Sort of an origin story. For a movie that was released in 2004, why does it look like the quality of the 80s? I know it's going back, but come on, it's 2004. That's all I wrote about that. Wow. Yes, that's all I wrote about that.
I mean, that's all you could really write about that, to be honest.
Do you want to do Dominion next?
Oh, I guess I suppose I can do Dominion next.
Stellan's back.
Yeah. Stellan Skarsgård is back as Father Mirren. Gabrielle Mann, Father Francis. Clara Beller as Rachel Lesno. Billy Crawford as Chetch.
Is that
Ralph.
what I thought it was cheating?
I'm gonna say Chetch because I do believe that's how it is. And then we got Ralph Brown as Sergeant Major. Oh, so not only did we get a prequel in 2004, but yet another one with Stellan Skarsgård a year later that was the original prequel. Not enough did we need more explanations from a young Father Merrin and restored his faith in East Africa. The archaeologist that Merrin was before, he was an ordained priest with the Roman Catholic Church at the start of the movie. He has abandoned his faith, yet he ends up being exposed to more Catholic Church drama, of course, because the demons want him. They want to be exorcised by the sexy.
Yes, that should be.
Isn't Father Merrin. It's a filthy wee pleasure of Pazuzu, isn't it? To have him as a priest and a man plaguing him, taunting him, if you will. Would that restore your faith? No, but it might let you understand why he left the church and why returning will only lead to your death. So a disabled boy is possessed. So this movie is yet another fail, which is why we are not surprised. It's movies like this that make horror a joke, but today's standard, instead of churning out bullshit, reevaluate the situation and give us something original, but with a twist for our generation, for future generations. So for the better, and that the next generation will have a challenge to keep horror on top as it should. I do hope by the time I die, by the time I'm 6 feet under, horror has done absolutely amazing so that the next generation can relive the same bullshit that we had to deal with, which was crappy remakes, crappy prequels, and then they can complain about it in their generation.
Exactly. So we have the TV series. There was a TV series. Oh yes. The prequels weren't enough and the sequels weren't enough to make an amazing original movie. The original movie is the only one. The rest, they don't even exist. Once you've seen them once, that's it. You just can forget or try and forget about them. Or just try. They try to go for shock value again with nothing to really hold the backbone of the story. Let's see how much mental health we can throw at this. And two priests call it a battle of good versus ancient evil. So a family of troubled people, possession, mental health, who knows, but why call the church? Better off calling the Ghostbusters. Lol, yes, this is me writing this. Also, they have brought in things like the Knights Templar, who the fuck knows? But again, spiraling. I'm surprised it got as many episodes as it did. Also, Father Marcus doesn't always get the blessings from the church for his practices, and they tend to not agree on the best way to tackle this. Marco, don't be a priest. Go freelance. Go reflink your station in life. Why go back to the church? Why are the demons who possess these people always want a priest with an ultimate daddy issue to deal with? Because if they are already on the fence of what is good and what is evil, what is real, what is not, then why is it a challenge for them to take a man of faith who questions that obviously he has answers for, but he's too much of a coward to walk the fuck away or walk directly to it? That's what I thought about the TV show. Pointless. Yes. And now we have the new one.
We
We've
do.
already been over Taylor Swift. Where I actually talk about it, we can talk about it if you want. But it was the description I was wanting to really put out there from IMDb because, well, we haven't seen the movie yet. I don't go outside very often to go to the cinema, so
Yeah, I was actually scrolling through think Hulu last night, because you and I were talking about it, I think, yeah, Friday. The Boogeyman, the new one's actually. Well, the new sequel, apparently we have waited 50 years proper sequel, a proper continuation of the franchise, and as horror seems to be doing well, the box office these days since 2021, then a proper horror sequel like this is worth the wait. Some say, yet again, this movie was supposed to be given its Friday the 13th, October, Friday the 13th release, but due to a 6 foot something blonde.
No, I call her Tate. Tate shite. That sounds better.
Okay.
Tate shite. It's been moved.
Yes.
But we wouldn't. It goes, but again,
Yeah, we already.
went angry about it.
Yes. It was moved the 13th to Friday the 6th of October because of her shit. So the description on IMDb for the new Exorcist movie is as follows. Apparently, it's a reset that will show a new narrative and dedication, and it also has distanced itself from the TV show and the other sequels, which sounds absolutely amazing. The story has been described as innovative, and we have waited 50 years. So I definitely hope that it definitely covers up some narrative shit where nothing makes sense and becomes choppy as fuck. I hope that it actually does do it justice. Because let's face it, when Halloween did that, Halloween didn't do justice. The director from the new Exorcist movie is changing things up for this generation by changing the baddie, yet still paying homage to the past. Yeah, we will see. Couple questions. Will there be Easter eggs, tie-ins, or will there be a hidden subliminal message for the fans of the original? Who knows? And then, again, we're on the Taylor Swift bullshit because she wasn't moving her Eras tour movie shit from the 13th, and Blumhouse crumbling under that pressure and changing the date when I am sorry, Taylor Swift, fuck off. I agree wholeheartedly. And yes, and take your money grab to another week of October, like the 6th.
Or the 20th, or the 27th.
Yes. Disgusted by this Halloween. Hell, she could have done it closer to Halloween, and I'm pretty sure she probably would have still made great money off of it.
Definitely.
Disgusted by this Halloween, our month of horror, October, but a fucking pop star gets a pick. Yes. What the actual fuck is she just coming across as an arrogant
Tunt. Because I remember, because we're not to see the other one. It's true though. She came across as an arrogant tunt.
Yes.
What did you call her?
was
Cheryl Tunt. Aye.
Yeah, I was gonna say the actual
From
word,
Archer.
But...
No.
But I'm an arrogant.
Did you know? Sorry. In fact, did you know that there was around 600 applicants for the original movie, and 30 actually tried out for the role of Regan alone, including Laura Dern, Eva Plum, Melanie Griffith, which is weird. I don't think I could trust. I don't think she'd look very good as Regan, and I don't think I'd be able to look at Melanie Griffith ever again by some of the things that happened in that film. The same with Kim Basinger. I'm Sharon Stone. Do you know what I mean? So, but they settled with Linda Blair, but apparently they weren't going to settle with her because she thought because she was a model and not an actress, or she hadn't been in it big, but they just brought her along anyway. When Regan slaps her mother, this was an older actress. The director wanted someone who was stronger to play the part, so it was more believable if she was possessed. She would be stronger due to the entity possessing her. And also, who doesn't want to see a random wee lassie slapping their mum? Do you know what I mean? In front of people and not having to act like it was bad. Everyone! The spider walk, or I would call it crab, but it's a spider walk apparently, was performed by a contortionist by the name of Linda R. Hager. Apparently the reason this was removed was because the technology for hiding cables and wires wasn't that great to what we have now. So that was the actual reason it was removed, not because it scared the bejesus out of people like I thought. The projectile vomit scene, I didn't know. Was done in one take. I knew that bit, but I didn't know it misfired, that it was supposed to happen in the chest, not the face. The face is hilarious. That's the thing. The fact that it wasn't supposed to happen, it was the reaction of the person. That's always good, isn't it? Something that wasn't supposed to be there and then was.
But it makes it 10 times better knowing that it was.
Because the reaction is genuine.
Yes. Yeah.
But you're glad they misfired too, aren't you?
Yes, absolutely. Because there are very little today that actually do a lot when it comes to genuine reactions. I think the most recent one besides, that would be, if I can remember correctly, it was Rob Zombie remake, the Rob Zombie remake of Halloween.
Yeah.
And it's the very final scene when he is chasing Lori and ends up breaking through that wall at the very end. He actually broke through a wall. He actually missed the cue to go through the breakable wall, and he actually went through an actual wall. So the
Wow.
reaction from Laurie Strode when she was freaking out more than what she should have been was because it was the wrong wall, and it was genuinely a oh shit moment.
Yeah. I like the oh shit moments though. It's the best thing about movies. And
No,
right.
absolutely.
So apparently actor Max von Sydow got into hot water on the first day of shooting. He forgot his train of thought and his lines when Linda Blair was filming the scene of torrent abuse. He was so disturbed that it made him forget his own lines and unable to perform the scene as he was so disturbed by the dialogue that Linda Blair was spouting off. I wonder if that was like Jesus fuck you, your mother sucks cocks in hell, or just saying your mother's a whore constantly and just maybe it was that one, where she's twisted her head round and she's like just talking absolute filth
I'm
to a priest.
yeah, that makes me want to go back and watch the movie to see where
I
like
do though.
I
I
it's
want to
like
see him lose his train of thought.
yeah, I want to see like where he goes from, or any of the actors really go from acting and portraying their characters to kind of like stumbling on their words. I want to know like the differences, because I would love to see, because that I didn't know. So that's interesting to know. So it makes me want to go back and rewatch it to know that a lot of this movie had a lot of genuine reactions, and just to be able to know how they fit in and how they saved it, because back in 73 they didn't have the technology we do today, where we're able to cut and paste and do all this stuff that they weren't able to do back then. So yeah, it would definitely be interesting.
The breath being shown in the movie was actually filmed in a refrigerated room with meat locker air conditioning. I would have loved that air conditioning a few months ago. So that they could bring the temperature down for this, making the room so cold that you could see your breath, mimicking the power the demon had over Reagan and her surroundings during the exorcism scenes. That is genius how they managed to pull that off. Again, setting the bar high. And this is why movies in this genre have some massive, gigantic shoes to fill when it comes to authenticity and making the story, the effects, the actors, the story come together, bring us this timeless masterpiece that some movies in the genre fail to hit, unfortunately, but fortunate for us, if we want to watch this type of quality, it would just be watch the original, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, even though special effects weren't nearly as up to date as they are today, in my opinion, a lot of directors, producers, stuntmen, special effects creators back then were way ahead of their time. I mean, they don't think like they used to today. Today we have computers to where we can CGI special effects in, to where back then they weren't nearly as great, so they actually had to think on their feet to get that specific vision, as you will, for it. So yeah, doing basically creating a set in a meat locker room to be able to give that vision of breathtaking coldness from the what did you say, the power had over Reagan. It's genius, because nowadays you could just, oh well, let's type on this computer, cold breath coming out of this person, boom, there it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it
Awesome.
just
Setting the bar high.
mm-hmm.
Setting the bar high. The Exodus we've spoke about was based on a book, and the director did change some things as he felt they didn't fit well with the SFX available to him, so that the movie would be flawless, and we just spoke about that there.
Yes.
The soup they used was Anderson's pea green soup because apparently Campbell's didn't quite cut it for consistency, colour, etc. They thought Anderson's was better to represent bile-like vomits. So there's another one.
That I did know. I do remember reading that.
The Help Me scene was performed by using latex foam. It's in a belly replica of Linda Blair's stomach and painting on it. And they used a hairdryer to create a chemical reaction while blow drying. This would cause the message to deflate. And when playing it backwards, it looked like the words were rising out of her skin, like she herself was summoning for something to be done. She wasn't ready to stop fighting. Which again is the fact that they used what they had. It was the 70s, and creating new strategies and new ways to build and create things was what happened with special effects. None of this digital shite. It was all made, it was all built, and it was all created. People
Yes.
got smart with what they had and the resources they had.
Oh yeah, absolutely they did.
Linda herself ended up injuring herself when she was thrown from the bed as part of the rig had become broken, causing a malfunction that ended up with her having a back injury due to this.
Yeah, I mean, there was so much shit that, came from the Exorcist movie, deaths, injuries. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me.
The head 360 spinning was misinterpreted and was never supposed to go the full 360, but again, this is the famous scene that the movie is known for. I don't think it's not just known for that, it's known for other things, but again, this is what a lot of people feel. And is used in a lot of jokes when describing crazy people, usually women. Did she go all 360? That's what usually is
I can,
used.
I can agree, but,
So, this is the one that really made me feel minging after typing. In the book, Reagan's room had an unbearable stench due to her relieving herself of her diarrhea. But aren't you glad it was only vomit they dealt with in the movie? Also, in the book, she wore a nappy because she would just let her bowels go. Seems the depiction of the demon possessing Reagan in the books wasn't just happy with a gory wank with a crucifix, but wanted to embarrass her and shame her all at once. Apparently, in the book, the crucifix masturbation scene was much more graphic and gorier, which again I am not surprised. Again, I found the scene more funny than scary, especially the facial expressions she pulls with the line where she says, like, Jesus, fuck you. Again, we have just discussed that.
yes.
The demons have such cool names, like Pazuzu and Captain Howdy. Usually in possession, it isn't one entity but many. But there is always a stronger entity that will take hold of the original body when it's being threatened or exorcised. That was all your facts. What did you think? Were
Ah,
you surprised?
some of them I did not know, but a lot of them I did because I am very, kept up on horror movies and, when it comes to especially conspiracies around horror movies, I love reading that stuff.
I like hearing random facts about anything, so.
Oh yeah, same. But when it comes to horror movies, I find them, especially with like The Exorcist and God, what's the other one? Why am I drawing a blank? They just remade it a few years ago. Poltergeist. It's interesting to read about because, just the Omen, stuff like that. There's been so many they consider these movies to be cursed. So any kind of incident that happens, the first thing that anybody ever does is they blame the movie. There's been, I can't even remember. Let's see. Sure, I could probably find it in a heartbeat too. The deaths of at least 4 people have been linked to the film The Exorcist, and some believe the movie was cursed. This included Jack McGoran, who played the eccentric film director Burke Dennings in the film, and he was killed by demon plague Regan McNeil. So there's been a lot of people. There's been 4 people that died due to the movie, and it's just interesting to know that you still have people who believe that these movies are cursed in ways. So I mean, it's funny in a way because of course people are going to blame a movie that's got to deal with demonic possession. It baffles me on how quick people are to blame something that probably had no control over, like cursed in some way.
They believe on who's cursed? Reagan or
The,
the
mo-
real
the
person?
No, the movie itself, because that was like I said, there was 4 deaths of people who were actually linked to the movie itself. Um, so they considered the movie to be a curse in itself, bringing up demonic possession and all that stuff. So
It could be. I don't know, but anything is possible.
yeah, I mean, anything is, guys. Happy coincidence that these people passed away that were linked to this movie. It'd be interesting to see all your guys' thoughts on this. Um, I myself personally think that was cursed in a way. I mean, you had a bunch of movies dealing with demonic possessions and stuff like that in the past, but none that went as far as The Exorcist did. So, in a way, I do believe some of it might have been cursed. Um, Again, may also think that some of it may have been a happy coincidence too, but nonetheless, it's just ironic that it happens to be 4 people that were linked to the movie that passed away. So, in a way, I feel like there might be some kind of speculation and curse behind it.
You never know. There's no proof. I can't say yay or nay. But I'd like to think that there was.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, and it's interesting to think that, and um everything like that. I mean, uh, I can't wait to see the new movie. To see how well they paid homage to the original. It's gonna be.
Yeah.
I'm hoping, going through some of the stuff that you had put in there, I do hope that they do have some sort of callback or Easter egg or something to the original. I hope at the same time they kind of do their own thing and they do it well.
I
So,
hope so, but again, people will just say things, and that's what the internet is for.
yes, absolutely.
I'm just looking forward to the movie coming out. Would I like to be next week? Yes, but it's not. Um, but I'll remember that for the rest of my life and probably be seeing it when I'm senile. Do you know what I mean? In my own nappy. Do you know what I mean? So, no, saying that I hate Taylor Swift. So, I just can't wait to see the film. I'll have to wait to see it because I don't go out. And I'm keeping an open mind and I'm not watching spoilers or anything like that or people talking about it because you can ruin it for me all you want.
So I definitely think going into the movie is going to, with an open mind, is going to be a good thing. IMDb, I know it's only 2 days after the release. IMDb rates the movie 5.2 out of 10. Today, the movie we were doing was The Exorcist Believer, the new one, but we also wanted to give the backstory of the originals and some of the TV shows that were complete garbage. Something that we are kind of like any YouTube reactor out there. We are separating this from this. We're not going to go into these movies with a mindset of this is what IMDb scored it. This is what, people have said about it. We're going to go into it with a open mind, watch it, and then probably not next episode, but the episode after that, we'll give our thoughts if we have seen it yet or not. Um, but we will give our thoughts down the road when we do see it about what we thought of the movie, and they will be honest, true thoughts. So if you guys, we trust each other's opinions for the fact of this movie's shit or this movie's great. We trust each other's opinions. We will take your guys' opinions to heart, but we will probably still end up watching it and giving our full on it as well. This is the end of episode of Confessions from the Dark Side. or as we called it, Confessions from Captain Howdy. Please, please, please drop a like, comment, let us know what you guys thought. Again, for disclaimer purposes, we are an adult channel. We are a mature channel. We talk about the obscene. You guys are not into it. If you guys do not like that, if you guys are easily offended, we are not Disney Plus people. We are borderline NC-17. Find another channel.
On a good day. On a good day.
Yeah, on a good day, we're rated M for mature. On a great day, we're borderline NC-17. If you want that kind of stuff, go to Pornhub.
No judgment here.
Yeah, no judgment here. But guys, remember, this is what we do. This is what we enjoy doing. Just two friends enjoying each other's company, talking about stuff that we are passionate about, and yes, absolutely talking shit. Thank you. Again,
Can I say?
yes. This has been a great episode. I enjoyed this episode, especially for a classic movie that has a proper sequel, as they have said. And we will let you guys know what we think about it when we both have watched it, or if one of us has watched it, we can actually advise the other person to either watch it or avoid it at like the plague, literally.
I'll still watch it though.
Yeah.
Have to.
Yeah, so will I, but that's again beside the point. So, this is Luna Rising.
And this is Darcy Darkness.
And until next time, bye.
Later.